Hello, this is Crystal Purrier, librarian at Price Elementary, and this presentation is on using the EPIC reading program that's free for teachers and students on becoming a new user. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up a class for using EPIC for the first time. So this is specifically for people who have not used EPIC before. I'm going to show you the slide presentation, and then we'll go into how you would use the EPIC website to set up your classes. So one of the things you want to take in consideration, EPIC does have some educational videos on there, but if you're going to use EPIC as your primary independent reading or class reading, you may want to decide whether you're going to allow them to see videos all the time or just toggle it on and off. EPIC allows your students to create profiles. So it's again a great way to let them have some autonomy of what their profile looks like, but there is a way to toggle that off, so giving them some time to choose and then toggling it off to keep them from doing that all the time. Setting up your grade levels, so if you're a kindergarten for a second, highlighting your grade level. Reading level systems, so some people use AR, some people use Lexiles, some people use BAS, so you can choose to set up your account to highlight what your students can look for when they're reading on EPIC, and then how to set up class rosters. And then EPIC does work on Chromebooks and iPads. Having students access it for the first time looks different on Chromebooks and iPads, so just knowing how to help them navigate there for the first time. EPIC uses a class code that generates for you to have your students use it for the first time, and then selecting names and having the students find their name within the class settings. Okay, so let's leave the presentation and go to EPIC. So it's getepic.com. You want to set up your account as an educator. Parents can pay for the service. They get a join free for 30 days. You want to send them, there's a way for you to send them an email through your educator site that will give you some bonuses, but you want to make sure you're setting up your educator site. Because I've already accessed my account before, I have mine set up to remember my email. You can do that as well. There's a Google Fast Track setup as well. So once you've done that before, you enter in your email, select a password, you can have EPIC remember that for you. So internet is moving a little slow this morning. Okay, so finally refreshed. This is what the teacher dashboard looks like. So right here on the left-hand side, you can see that it already says Ms. Purrier. This is the student class code that I mentioned. This is how your students can first type into access. And as we scroll down, I mentioned setting up your class settings. You'll do that to begin with to make those decisions. So you can toggle videos on and off. You can allow students to select their profiles, set up your grade levels, and then the reading systems. So AR, DRA, grade level, Lexile. Here at Price Elementary, we do BAS, so the alphabet letters, and that's also known here on EPIC as F and P. So when our students here at Price go and look for their grade, their reading levels, it will set them up to look for books in that way. to set up class rosters, you can go to My Students here at the top and go into Rosters. To add students, you can go right here and pull up a way to go ahead and put them in by first name, last name. You can copy and type in from any document or spreadsheet. If you are a Google Classroom user, you can also import your students from Google Classroom. And like I mentioned before, when you have a students' names put in, you can also send their parents an email to see if they're interested in having Epic at home. When they do access at home, it does cost them a service fee per month. You can also create groupings of students. So if you want to have a student reading group, you can do that as well. You can also check in on students through class logs and student logs to see how they're doing in their reading habits, their behavior patterns with their readings through My Students. So if you notice here, we have a student who finished this book in 1 minute. Suspicious. Maybe just to be a page turner. Have others that have taken some time. But you can check on reading patterns and reading behaviors in the class log. And then you can also look in this individual student logs. And there's some other features that I'm going to do a different presentation on, and tips and tricks to engage students on Epic. So if you want to view that presentation, I'm going to do a different video on how I was able to do that. So I'm going to close this one out. If you have any questions, oh, nope. Just remembered, I haven't shown you how we get students, what it looks like for students to students logging in. So let's go and do that. So student login to access through Chromebooks and laptops. So and student login, I'll show you that where it was again. So under My Students on the right hand side in student login, it will give you directions here as to where laptops and Chromebook are. They'll type in the code and then they will select their name, and you can print those instructions. So what it would look like on a Chromebook, you can click the student experience and they can access their name there. Okay. And then for iPad users, it looks a little different. It will ask if they have an account, and you have to click on Student Educators. Sometimes that definitely trips students up. So I would set your class iPads up for K1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. You could walk them through this together, modeling this on the board with the student experience we'll do together. Class rosters, again, you can print these directions. So the student experience on the iPad version, again, when they do a student login, it looks the same, but there is that, let's see if I can show you what I mean. No, it's not showing me. It does become a little tricky about what it looks like because it asks you to enter that class code. but it will have a parents block around in this general area, the student educators here, and then at the bottom around this general area, it'll ask you for the class code. So kind of have to help them through that area. And that is what I wanted to conclude with how a new user sets up with Epic. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, if you need any help, please reach out with an email, and I can help you set up your Epic accounts. We're going to do a presentation next on tips and tricks to engage students and make it more effective in your classroom with Epic.